how to best prep for Season 1, The War Within. Do this before Season 1. Now, we watched a couple prep videos before. I've also made some of my own. But preparing for Season 1 is important, of course. We talked about getting how to build up Valor Stones and things like that. But what does Kalani, or should I say Kalani, have to say about how to do this?
Hey folks, this is Kalani. Season 1 of The War Within is almost here, but it's not too late to set yourself up for a smooth start to the season. There are quite a few things you can do to best prepare for all of the new content coming our way,
That's right.
and you could save yourself a lot of time and effort, so you can focus on the fun stuff like the new raid, the seasonal dungeons, and the higher tiers of delves.
Oh yeah.
So let's go through everything you can do before Season 1 starts to best prepare your characters. Now before we jump in, be sure to hit up that like button and subscribe so you never miss another video.
Of course.
One of the most important things to do before the season starts is to just generally gear up. You're going to want to get as close to 5
Damn, my man's crafting the shit out of his gear. Look at all this crafting gear
item
he's
level
got.
as you can, so then you can hit the ground running when all of the new content opens its doors. One of the easiest ways to gear up is to just run heroic dungeons. The gear drops at 571 before the season starts, and you can upgrade it to 593, and heroic dungeons also give you Valor Stones and Weathered Crests, which you'll need for those upgrades. So running heroic dungeons is probably the way to go if you don't want to put in too much effort. But a much more efficient way to gear up is to turn your Weathered Crests into Enchanted Weathered Crests and use those to craft 590 gear. This only costs
What profession does this? What profession turns the crests into enchanted crests?
30 crests per piece of gear. Instead of the 60 crests it would take to upgrade a piece to 593,
Enchanting.
and you save yourself a huge chunk of Valor Stones too, which are arguably more important anyway. So you could get twice as many pieces of 590 gear to give you a great head start leading into Season 1. The only slight problem is that you do have to get this gear crafted at rank 5 to get that 590 item level. You can either find a crafter in trade chat and put in a crafting order.
Calm down, guys. Jesus, I'll never ask you a damn another question again. I don't do the crafting shit, okay? I don't do it. I don't participate in it. And maybe I'll do it on the side if someone wants to help me out, but I'm not going to do no crafting. Come on. I'm out there warring, not doing the crafting part of the Warcraft. I just do the war part, okay? Calm down.
Or you can set up the profession yourself.
Angry
I
chat.
set up my tailoring so I can craft pretty much any item at 590 already using the concentration. It's really not too difficult to do. You just need to spend your points in the right places in your specialization trees. Now, I've seen quite a few comments floating around to the effect of, why would you waste your upgrade crests now when you'll be able to get much better gear in Season 1? And there are two main reasons why this comment doesn't make too much sense. For starters, whenever you use crests to upgrade...
Hold on, I'm actually of this mindset, but I think he's going to make a good point right now because I'm stupid to think this way, because after you upgrade, you don't have to use the crests anymore to get the other items that same item level.
Specific slot, you'll never have to spend crests on that upgrade level in that slot ever again.
But you do run out of flight stones. It still costs you, not flight stones, Valor Stones. I'm going to keep saying that for a while now. You do run out of Valor Stones. So, I mean... yeah, if you're not going to cap out your Valor Stones, maybe you do wait.
We upgrade one headpiece all the way to 593, every other headpiece we get below that item level will have 0 crest costs and cheaper Valor Stone costs to upgrade it, so you only really ever spend crests once per gear slot.
Right.
The second reason is that Weathered Crests actually only get you to 593. If you want to upgrade past that point, you're going to need Carved Crests instead, so if you get an item level 600 piece of gear in the new season, you're never going to use Weathered Crests for that upgrade on that gear slot ever again. So you can spend
if you're doing mythic dungeons and stuff like that, I mean, you're gonna need the carved crests, not the other ones. So yeah, he does make a good point there.
Your Weathered Crests on whatever you want to right now, you're not going to really lose out on anything, and starting the season with some better gear and a higher item level could allow you to gear up much faster by completing higher tiers of content earlier. Now, with that being said, you do want to hold onto your carved crests for this reason. They're going to be far more useful and allow you to upgrade gear much further, but we can't really make good use of them before the season starts. And
so use the weathered crests, but hang on to the carved ones. That's the strat, okay? I have been hanging on to the weathered ones and my Valor Stones because I'm a hoarder like that and I don't want to use them yet. I'm also a lazy degenerate who doesn't want to regrind these. But in all honesty, I should probably be using them. It makes more sense.
probably skip
I have
over quite
upgradable
a few
items right
item
now.
levels as well, just by doing the higher tiers of content, so do keep your carved crests for the start of the season. Now, while our gearing options are quite limited until the season starts, another way that you can get ahead is to cap out your Valor Stones, or just collect as many as you can before the season starts. The Valor Stones will carry over into the season, and we can carry up to 2,000 at one time, so go.
Or you can carry more. Yeah, we talked about it this morning. You can actually carry more than 2,000. And you're like, oh, Sam, what do you mean? You're capped at 2,000. The Blizzard did that on purpose to stop WoW players from being true degenerates. Yeah, you can gather some of these odd globs of wax by just going around and getting these purple rocks, mining them. And you can hold on to these odd globs of wax, and you can turn them into middles. He's the wax collector in the Ringing Deeps, and get 10 Valor Stones for them. You don't have to turn them in if you don't want to. You can kind of hold them in your bag until you need them, and you can collect 999 of them. So do the math. That's a lot of globs, a lot of Valor Stones. And you can just hold them in your bag, and then you just turn them in whenever you need more Valor Stones. So yeah, you technically can collect a lot more than just the cap amount of Valor Stones right now before the season starts. Just saying. You be the degenerate you truly are.
Going into the season with 2,000 Valor Stones means you'll have a really nice buffer of currency for upgrading all of your shiny new gear in Season 1. There are also various rewards and items that you can get, like this one, that give you Valor Stones when used. You want to keep these in your bags.
Oh, there's
Don't use them until after the season
strat.
starts, because you can cap your Valor Stones at 2,000 now, and then have these sitting in your bags, and then kind of circumvent that 2,000 Valor Stone limit. When you run out of stones, or when you run low on them, you can just pop those items to quickly top up your Valor Stones to keep upgrading your gear.
Nice.
Another option that you have along a similar vein is to collect these odd globs of wax.
He's talking about it.
These are mainly obtained from digging in the disturbed dirt that you can find all over the place.
I guess it's not a secret.
The purple outline really gives it away.
I thought I had
You can trigger
something.
various events like opening a treasure, killing some monsters, or a variety of other things, but they will always reward you with these globs of wax. You can turn these globs in for Valor Stone to the NPC next to Norbles. 5 globs of wax will get you 10 Valor Stones, and because the wax doesn't have any limits, you can just hoard this stuff for as long as you want.
That's right.
And then if you need some extra Valor Stones, you can just trade it in. You can gather up as much wax as you want before the season starts, so technically you could have an endless stockpile of Valor Stones just waiting to be traded in. Another very important item that you'll want to get and probably save for the season are your Sparks of Omens. These sparks are used to create the highest item levels of crafted gear, and to get your hands on them you'll need to obtain 2 fractured Sparks of Omens and combine them together. You can get a fractured spark by completing the weekly quest in Dornagal just outside of the inn. There's also a special one-time quest right next to the Catalyst in Dornagal where you can get an extra fractured spark for free, so be sure you complete that quest too. When the season starts up, we should be able to get 2 whole sparks, which will let you craft some pretty huge gear upgrades, so you can go into the season with your best crafted gear, or you could wait until you've had a bit of time in the new raid and the higher tiers of content to see what loot you happen upon. Most guides recommend crafting a weapon first. It's one of the most impactful pieces of gear for your character power, but if you get a really good weapon from the raid in the first week, then your crafted piece loses a bit of value, so it depends on how you want to approach this. Personally, I'll be keeping both of my sparks on my mage until the end of the first week, and then I'll use them to replace my lowest item level pieces of gear, or just the pieces that would be the largest upgrades.
Crafting is always really important early on to get some really good gear for sure. Wait 5 for 10 Valor. Killing heroic bosses yields much quicker. Are you talking about the globs of wax? The whole point of that is not to get them quickly. It's to bypass the 2,000 limit. So if you hit your limit, this is a nice way to kind of hoard more Valor in your bag, basically.
You're going to want to save up are your restored coffer keys. These come from the various world content caches, like taking part in the weekly events or completing weekly quests. You can get 4 keys per week from the first 4 caches that you earn.
No doubt it's tedious.
These keys are used to open the locked chests at the end of bountiful delves. You can get yourself some pretty big rep gains, various useful currencies, the Radiant Echoes event item, and some pretty good gear rewards, but the gear rewards specifically are quite limited until the season starts. We can only go up to tier 3 in delves right now. If you save your keys until the season starts, we'll have access to much higher tiers of delves. The rewards for these tiers cap out at tier 8, so you won't get any better rewards for going higher than tier 8, and at that point, if you use a key on a bountiful tier 8 delve, you can get item level 603
Heroic
gear,
level
which
rating
is some
gear.
of the best gear we've ever seen for open world content players, or solo content players especially. Completing these tiers also contributes to your weekly vault, where you can then get item level 6.
Okay, you see this? This is old. They changed this morning. So now you need only 8 to unlock this this final slot, which is really cool. So that's 8, 4, and 2, I believe now, to be able to unlock these different slots. So that's really cool for for people. Doing delves is going to be a big thing in the first season for sure.
16 gear for completing those tier 8 delves, so saving your restored copper keys will allow you to earn far better rewards after the season starts.
Yep.
Something else you can do to help your future delve endeavors is to level up Bran. Every delve you run will earn you companion experience, and as Bran levels up, he will unlock new abilities to help you out, but he'll also just become much stronger. After you get him to level 10, every level after that just provides a 5% buff to his damage done, so leveling him up can really make the difference between a higher tier of delve being difficult or being manageable. Now, pre-season, Bran is currently capped at level 15. You can't go any higher than that until the season starts, but getting him to 15 before the season starts will not only give you a boost as you start working on tier 4 and upwards, but you'll also be leveling him past that 15 cap right away at the start of the season.
Yeah, a good Bran does help your main and your ults a lot, because that same level Bran goes across all of them. You already have 20 coffer keys. Holy crap. Oh my god. Yeah, holding on to the coffer keys is definitely a great idea. Do not use them until the season starts for sure. Our Bountiful Delves Warbound. You can only use the key once per account. No, I don't believe so. Coffer key, 32 keys. Oh my god. I think you get 4 keys. You can use 4. Well, are they warbound? Are they warbound? No, I don't think so. But I don't think you can trade them across characters, can you? I don't know, somebody else confirm or deny that. I have no idea.
So he's going to keep pace with you as you work your way through
because then you can just hoard keys from your alts.
If Bran is underleveled when the season starts, you may end up spending extra time just farming experience for him, so then he's actually useful in those higher tiers. So if you want the most powerful companion you can get at the very start of the season, it may be worth farming some experience and trying to get Bran to level 15. Remember that your companion progress is shared across your entire account, so you only have to level him up once, and all of your alts will have that souped up Bran helping them in their delves as well. Now, if you really don't...
No, the way coffer keys work is your first 4 caches that you open in a week will give you coffer keys. That goes for each individual character, because you can't swap... I don't believe you can swap those keys across your warband characters. So if you're asking that, it's individually each character. Otherwise, armies are very OP. Yeah, that's why they don't allow that exactly. Basically anything that's pretty much player power attached, like your Valor stones and shit like that. Those you cannot swap between characters. TY, good to know. Yeah.
Don't like the idea of just...
You can't transfer the keys. They are not warbound. Yeah. Okay. Good. You can do bountiful with your main alt. Same day if they both have their own keys. Yeah.
Delves before they're more rewarding. It is worth noting that you get a large experience bonus for Bran for the first delve you run each day. So running just 1 delve a day to get that daily bonus can help you level up Bran very efficiently while avoiding grinding too much. It's not just new tiers of delves coming with Season 1, we'll also be venturing into our very first raid for the expansion. Yes. I know a lot of folks like to go into the raids blind to really get that sense of adventure and mystery, but if you like to be prepared, it doesn't hurt to do a bit of research. You can look at every boss in the dungeon or raid journal, what abilities each role needs to watch out for, and a detailed explanation of how the boss abilities work.
Yeah, the day the raid comes out, we'll just run in there and do it. Everyone from chat will just group up and run it, and we'll just watch the boss video before each pull and figure out how to do the bosses. That's how we always do it. We get deep into the bosses the first week.
Looking through the raid journal will also give you an idea of what loot you may want and which bosses have the really good stuff. If you learn more from a visual example, we're going to have raid guides up for every boss except the last one before the raid goes live, and I'll link those in the comments below so you can pop on over there if
we always watch Hazel or Kalani for a lot of these boss fights.
Seems useful. We'll also have higher difficulties of dungeons to explore as well. With the start of Season 1, we'll be able to hop into Mythic 0 dungeons, but they aren't going to be the 8 War Within dungeons that we've been playing in normal and heroic modes so far. We're going to start to see seasonal dungeons. So we have 4 of the War Within dungeons, accompanied by 4 older dungeons from previous expansions. Some of these might be brand new if you're just coming back to the game, or you may have forgotten how those dungeons work. So it's not a bad idea to revisit some of these dungeons.
The funny thing is, 2 of the new dungeons in rotation are Shadowlands dungeons, and I feel like a lot of people playing the War Within skipped Shadowlands right now. So, finally, you will have a slight advantage for having played that horrible expansion. The people who actually ran the dungeons in Shadowlands will know a little bit more than the people who skipped the expansion.
How the trash
Mentally,
works
they're destroyed,
and what the bosses do, and just re-familiarize yourself with all of it. Then when you're thrown into them during Season 1, you have some idea of how the dungeons progress. This is also the perfect time to grind some reputation and renown and unlock some of the higher rewards on offer. As you work through the renown tracks, you'll be earning even more Valor Stones and crests. You can grab yourself some 584 gear at around renown level 7 with various factions, some 597 gear a bit later on, and waiting near the end are some free enchanted runed Harbinger crests, which allow you to upgrade the Spark crafted gear that we talked about a bit earlier up to item level 619, and you don't even have to spend any of your hard-earned runed crests or Valor Stones, so that's pretty huge. All of your ults will also have access to these rewards immediately, so it's totally worth farming renown this time around, and you can secure some big rewards before the season starts.
Nice.
If you're looking for something else to do, it's also a great time to set up your professions. You can go about this in 2 ways. You can try and make as much gold as possible from your professions, which requires quite a lot more effort, or you can specifically tailor your profession to be able to craft the items that you're going to want as you start gearing up. Everyone will have access to the Sparks of Omens. This means everyone can get that 606 gear crafted very easily. The hard part comes from actually getting the items crafted. A lot of folks still really don't like interacting with the crafting order system, which is fine, but the best thing you can do for yourself in that situation is to then set up your professions to craft your own gear. Just pick an item to craft and specialize in that first. My Paladin is already maxed out in daggers for my mage's weapon, and it's working on swords next for its own weapons and any other swords that I might want to get crafted. My mage is set up for tailoring, and I'll work around the gear nodes in order that they'll probably get crafted. Remember that tier gear slots are very valuable and will almost never have a spark crafted piece of gear in them unless it's something special. You want to be wearing your tier gear in those slots. So the ones that are left over, like cloaks, bracers, belts and boots, are prime spots for your spark gear. Focus on being able to craft those at rank 5 first. You don't have to use your professions to make gold. You can instead focus on using them to save gold, and when you have a profession set up to craft certain items, they will be able to craft those items at the highest ranks for the rest of the expansion. So when we come into Season 2 and you want a Spark Dagger crafted with a Season 2 Spark, you'll already be able to do that. So setting them up now can not only save you time and gold in Season 1, but it can save you all of that hassle over the next 2 years. And then if you've got everything else squared away, right now is still the best time to level your ults. When the season starts up, you'll probably be busy with the new raid, running dungeons, or clearing the higher tiers of delves, so you might not find quite as much time for leveling your alt army. Having multiple alts can be good for farming different currencies, having access to multiple maxed out professions, or just playing different classes and roles. And playing and gearing your alts is so much easier thanks to the warband system and general account-wide progress that we have in the War Within. So really, leveling them is one of the larger hurdles, and you can get that out of the way before the season starts. We're also going to see some major...
don't forget, I mean, you get a boost for every character you level to max level up to 25%. So you get a 25% reduction in XP required if you've leveled 5. If you're on your 5th alt, so it gets easier and easier. So yeah, you could grind it out pretty quick right now.
Class balance tuning changes the first few weeks of the season. We always do. So having multiple characters ready to go might be a good idea just in case your current main gets nerfed into the ground and you don't find it as fun to play anymore. So there are plenty of things you can do to best prepare yourself for a great start to Season 1 of The War Within, so that's it for this video. What are you going to be working on before the season starts, and what new content are you most looking forward to? The new raid, the Mythic Plus season, or maybe being able to play those higher tiers of delves?
Probably the raid.
Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to all of our members here on YouTube. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can find links to the description or click the join button just below the video. If you enjoyed the video or found it useful in any way, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you're always kept up to date. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.
Great video. Yeah, nice comprehensive video. There's like the final one we're probably going to watch of like Season 1 prep. We've seen a couple of these now, and I did my own, like I said. But nice comprehensive video. Gear out. Level your alts, do the things for professions that you want to do, and just have a good time. Season 1's going to be fun. It's just around the corner.